Hello, this is Robert James Fremantle, and today we're going to be talking about Nintendo and the potential decline of the company. Now, as it probably hasn't escaped the notice of many of you, this is the first time in Nintendo's history where they have reported an annual loss. Yes, I know that you shouldn't all jump onto the bandwagon straight away and say, "Aha, this is the beginning of the end, it is doom," but what if we can present some well thought out, backed up facts to suggest that Nintendo is in a lot of trouble? Well, firstly, they've admitted it themselves that they've made a lot of mistakes and they're going to be trying hard to correct it in the next year. Let's take a look at some of the evidence of Nintendo, their past, their present and their future to try and determine what might happen next. Let's go. Nintendo were once the leaders in the field of innovation, not just in software, but in hardware too. Those that really brought to the mass consumer on the sofa analog sticks. We remember the N64 and some of those great titles. Some of the brilliant platformers and 3D gaming with such a high quality software output. We remember Mario 64 that everyone lauds, but of course my one that really stands out, for me, much better than Mario, was Banjo-Kazooie on the N64. And we've had all these new ideas for hardware and handhelds and how they've really dominated the market, making all of this money. How the SNES used to be considered, you know, the really hardcore gamer's machine, quality titles spread all over it, developers really pouring love into the games they're putting out. Probably from what, the GameCube onwards, there's been a decline in quality somehow. Nintendo, as always, bucking the trend against what the competitors were doing, and we know they gave birth to some of their competitors anyway, such as Sony, when, of course, they were going to create an enhanced disc machine, and the company they were paying to do it, then they pulled out of it, and they set up their own machine anyway. They took the prototype of what Nintendo were going to make them do, and it's like, yeah, well, we'll bring out the PlayStation and it will haunt you forever. So, you know, Nintendo created that monster. Oh, Ninty. Oh, Ninty. But yes, the GameCube, you know, they bucked the trend on that, these tiny, tiny little discs when everything else had the other discs. They bucked the trend before that because they kept to cartridges and everyone was bringing out discs. Of course, I liked cartridges because it was, you know, insta-load. But of course, it's always been about costs as well. The costs have always been higher in Nintendo games. But for me, the GameCube didn't really cut it. I mean, it was fanciful design and there were some really nice quality games on there. But the controller, for example, just didn't feel right. It was tiny. And what was this? How was that competitive? The dual analog stick. You know, the little camera stick, the yellow one? You couldn't really call that a dual analog stick, could you? I mean, trying to play something that is a killer, high money-making genre of a first-person shooter on the Cube was ridiculous. I tried it, it was awful. If you can't really play first-person shooters on the console, then you don't really have killer titles that will make you loads of money. You wouldn't be able to say, oh, let's bring out Call of Duty or whatever to the thing, because no one will want it. They won't buy it on that platform. And then, of course, there is the Wii, which always, to me, with the Wiimote and everything, always just felt a little bit gimmicky. I mean, everyone has to be positive and towards Nintendo's efforts with the balance board and Wii Fit and all these sort of things, trying to get gamers exercising a bit more, this concept. But then, of course, you had Kinect come out, and really, yeah, you could do the same thing without having to be reliant on a balance board that you could fall off of and twist your ankle, or having to hold a Wiimote. You know, your whole body is the controller. It's an upgrade. Once again, Nintendo left behind. They're the slow players once more. They brought out a Wii, and, you know, it didn't have any ability to play DVDs, let alone Blu-rays, which the PS3 completely laughs in the face of, even at the 360. You see, Nintendo, you've never really been able to take them seriously as a proper contender, have you? But now, with the way that the titles are released, and I think, you know, we've all grown up that original Nintendo playing SNES generation and even NES generation, in my case. You know, we've come to see the later products and we're seeing a real lessening, massively so, in innovation. And it's just the regurgitation of the same old titles we've played. When a new Nintendo console comes out, we know there's the The Mario Kart's on the way in a brand new Mario world, which is kind of just like the other Mario worlds, really. It's just going to go on and on and on, the same things, and the Mario Tennis is coming, and once more. We know we like them, we know we'll play them, but where's the mass innovation? This is not the state of play that was in place when we fell in love with it. You know, we're just trying to hold on to an idea of what makes us us, a memory, a beautiful memory of Nintendo. But could it be now that it just all feels like they're cashing in on their own IPs, their own intellectual properties? Could it be that Mario's coin-collecting obsession is actually a metaphor for the company itself? And this idea of making money out of the consumer unfairly, unjustly, yes, I will back that up with something in a moment, but it doesn't just even apply to Nintendo anymore, this idea of clone releases, for example. It applies to the entire Japanese game medium. Innovation and quality has vastly diminished. The West has overtaken them in even the mighty genre of RPG. I'm sure that none of you will dispute that, with BioWare's massive rise to power as one massive factor. Electronic Arts, even though I don't like that company, throwing all their money behind building the West up in such a strong way. This is a very difficult, challenging time for the Japanese game market, and for Japan's economy generally, with their woes added on top of the recession that we're going through globally. The Wii didn't sell as many units as they were expecting. There were some technical drawbacks with the machine, to be honest, a few other limitations, as previously mentioned. But another of the things that might have really hurt the Wii sales at the moment is the so very early announcement of the brand new Nintendo console, the Wii U. See, everyone's at that point going to be thinking, well, I'm not going to buy this old one because the new one is coming out. I'll save my money. We're in a recession. People don't just have money to throw around. You'll notice that Apple don't do that. They don't give information too far in advance, do they? You never quite know whether you're going to need the new iPhone or whatever it is, the new iPad. Some insiders might have a rumour, but that's the best you've got. Maybe Nintendo have really dropped one here and also allowed the competition, namely Sony and Microsoft and any of the others in secret development. I'm watching you, Steam. Perhaps they are going to look at Nintendo's offering and try to figure out some sort of counter-offensive. Time is on their side. Their consoles, the Xbox 720 and the PS4, will be coming out after Nintendo. They'll have breathing room. They're preparing for Nintendo, but Nintendo haven't seen the other new generation consoles. They haven't showed their hand yet. They don't know what they're up against. They are trying a few attempted innovative steps. They're saying we've got the pad, it's the touch screen, it's all these things. We're implementing new social networking aspects. You're going to be able to talk to your people online. Well, guess what? The other consoles are going to do it too. You think they're going to be caught sleeping? Not a chance. They are going for the throat. While it's good that more companies are out there, as many companies as possible, making consoles, because it keeps the competitive element up, which can only be good for the consumer, of course. That choice and demand, keeping quality on the go at the forefront. You know, Microsoft and Sony will go for the throat. They'll say, we'll take your innovative design and we will attack it with an idea of our own. I mean, just recently it's been announced that Microsoft are going to be able to include touchscreen programs through like the iPad and the phone that will interconnect to the Xbox. So you'll be able to have touchscreen elements that way with already existing hardware technology. So they're looking at the Wii, they're looking at the gamepad, the unique element, and they're saying, what can we counter with? Quick. Nintendo are giving them every opportunity to fight back. The next thought was, how powerful is the Wii U really going to be? There has been some massive concerns about that. With a lot of the games in development that we've seen, a lot of them are going to be, at best, 720p. That's a next-generation console without 1080. What are you doing, Nintendo? What? Is it just that the developers are choosing not to develop higher on that medium? Can they not get the best out of the hardware? Is the hardware really that low? I've saw some people doubting and some concerns about whether it would be much more powerful, if at all more powerful, than the currently existing Microsoft and Sony generation consoles. Do you know what? I wouldn't put it past them, because graphics have obviously never been a huge part of Nintendo's policy of what they are aiming for. They've always been going for the family market, haven't they? Which is why they've always been considered a bit more casual. So it is now considered, ultimately, a poor platform for some of the best-selling games out there. RPG and first-person shooter or first-person perspectives. So even if you were to look at something like, well, Skyrim, it's a combination of both of those. I mean, goodness me, historically Nintendo performs awful with titles like that. So you take something like Skyrim, nope, Nintendo probably couldn't touch that. Then there's the other problem, as we mentioned before, that cartridges were always more expensive. Just Nintendo as a brand, whether it's discs or not, as we've seen, even with the Wii, Nintendo games are always more expensive. They are. They always drop in price slower, okay? And then the pre-owned titles, criminy. When you go into the shops and see the pre-owned, second-hand, they like to call it pre-owned, don't they? Paint another nice word onto it. They're always far more expensive, yeah? I mean, how long has it been now since Mario Galaxy 1 or 2 have been out? And you're still paying, what, around 20 quid in maybe Galaxy 2 is like 25, maybe Galaxy 1, 22, off the top of my head, real quick, sort of thing. It's quite a high price or something. Anyway, pre-owned. Even new, that would be incredible. I mean, these are old titles now. They want to be shifting these units, especially with the U coming, but that's just always the nature of the beast. You know, if I wanted to go out and buy Pokemon Black right now, pre-owned, I'd be looking on, you know, on the DS, £25 pre-owned from Game, right? £25. I mean, obviously the upshoot of that is that you can trade in for a better value, at least. I mean, like the trade-in of Pokemon Black right now, if it's selling for 25 quid, you're looking at a part exchange rate trade-in of about 15. But for some reason, those prices just don't drop. You know, in the same way that, like, Call of Duty pre-owned games don't seem to drop in price very fast at all. Now, this is the thing that bothers me about Nintendo as a company, and how they're really coming to disregard us, the consumers, and why I don't like them much anymore, to be honest with you. You know, why I stick the proverbial 2 fingers up at them at this point. You know, I was one of the early adopters. I bought a DS on near to release sort of thing. Yes, I had a DS. It was lovely, you know, the little handheld thing. And then they brought out the DS Lite and I felt betrayed. I thought, okay, you know, I've adopted into this. They brought out the Lite. It's so much better. Everyone's going around with the Lite. I feel stupid if I was going to get a Lite. Well, anyway, I ended up with a situation where I ended up giving my DS away as a present to somebody. So then I was able to convince myself into getting a Lite. And I thought, oh, well, that's the end of it then. And then my friend comes along with the new DS, what was it called, XI or whatever it was, larger version, and it could have more features built into it and this sort of thing. What the heck? And then there's the difference. Some of them can backwards compatible to the Game Boy SP, and some of them can't, and that sort of problem. All right, what? Okay, so that's 3 handhelds of the same kind. At this point, I'm laughing hysterically at how stupid the company is. Then they brought out the 3DS. 4 of the same console. 4 of the same console. 4. What? And you know, you try and play the thing, and a lot of people, including me, don't like the experience on their brains of that 3D vision. I play it and it makes me feel sick, to be honest with you. It's a horrible experience, and I mentioned that to the staff in the shop, and they're like, oh yes, you can turn it off. And I said, what? So it becomes a DS Lite, essentially, yes? But the fact is that you can play these games with the 3D switched off, right? Okay, yet there are 3DS only compatible games. When a 3DS game comes out, it doesn't play on the Lite. Why? You can play it in 2D mode. Why can't it play on the Lite? Ka-ching! Money making, money making. Nintendo is robbing you. That's all there is to it. I refuse to buy a 3DS. I don't care what you bring out on it. I don't want it. You can shove your Lilac Wars. I played that on the N64. Yeah? And all those other must-have titles. Been there, done that. 1998 was great for me, thanks. The thing that's motivated me to make this video is that 4 handhelds become 5 of the same generation, of the same platform. 5! They announced the 3DS XL with a massive more screen. The 3DS has only just come out, right? And you would think, 4th one. Aha! That's the early adopter, everybody. The 4th one. Oh, you early adopter, you should have waited for the 5th one. The 3DS XL. What the hell, Nintendo? Seriously. Seriously, what next? The 3DS XL Lite. That's what I'm waiting for, right? I'm not even joking. I'm not even joking. I bet they will do that. Oh, yes, it's got a brighter screen. We've managed to miniaturize it now, yet it's bigger. What? How? It keeps a charge longer or some shit. He's got a camera on it now. You stupid bastards. Everybody also knows that with Nintendo products, the Wii port of the multi-platform release is always the weakest. It's the graphically weakest, it plays the weakest, it's probably the bloody most expensive, it'll take the longest to go down pre-owned. You don't want it. There's no reason for the consumer to buy it. Nintendo, are you listening? Jesus Christ. It needs a killer first-person shooter coming out, right? And I look at the Wii U, and I look at the Pro controller that's coming out for it. What? It is essentially an Xbox controller. It is the Type S controller, except confusingly, and exactly, the shoulder buttons, the triggers, everything, the jewels, analogs, everything, except that the X and Y and the B and A buttons are shifted the other way around because of Nintendo's way of doing it, which means that if you are familiar with that controller, you'll be confused continually because it'll feel like the Xbox controller, yet you'll be constantly pressing the wrong button. You're programmed to know that B is over on the right, but no, that's A you're hitting now, even though it's the same damn controller you're using, because Nintendo's innovation is just now copying Xbox. So me, as an Xbox player, I don't want that controller. For them to really have their very own killer first-person shooter, one could say, well, let's look at what they've got. They like dipping into their own IP and coming up with something without creating new licenses. Metroid, right? That would be a good one. Yes, that would be a killer first-person shooter if they got it right. But let's look at the previous experience of the recent Metroid games. Unplayable for me personally. They had to have this wonky donkey control system that absolutely bucked the trend on how it should be played. I could not get used to it, and I didn't want to have to train myself to play a control system that I will know will not be needed anywhere else for any other game. And I was proven right. No other games utilised it. That Metroid Prime thing. So I chose not to try and learn those controls. I gave up on the game. I'm saying, nope, can't change the controllers. I can't change it to a proper, generic, default setup that first-person shooters are supposed to have. There's no benefit to this. It's confusing me. I'm not doing this to myself. I'm the consumer. You're not doing this to me. It's not worth my time. So I chose not to play it. Will the next Metroid mess around with it all as well? I'm sure a lot of you did end up getting used to it, but why should you have to? You know what? It's tried and tested. It's done right. And it's like, actually, when you look back, yeah, even GoldenEye, the much hailed game that we all came from, now, in the harsh light of day, looks pretty crude. And I don't just mean graphically, I mean control-wise, right? Because, firstly, there's a look spring, okay, which was in Time Splitters, but that's about it, right? We wouldn't consider look springs in these days, where you go to look up, to aim up, and then you let go, then as the stick returns to the middle, the aim returns to the middle as well. How very arcadey. We wouldn't have that in a modern first-person shooter, really. Also, do you remember that the default setup there, and of course this is a Nintendo system, the N64, was honey, yeah, which meant that the normal left stick to move and right stick to look, as you will find in most first-person shooters these days, was actually reversed. And it was the left stick to look and the right stick to move. Nauseating. Honey setup, that was called. I had to switch it to solitaire. Even then, I switched it to solitaire. Because it just instinctively was correct. No one else has reversed the controls in modern day first-person shooters because it's not right. But why would a company do it wrong in the first place? I mean, these things really have to be held against these companies. It's like, whoa, stupid! They've got to be hit with the stupid hammer. And then we look at what the Wii U's getting on the multi-platform front. A lot of the stuff they're boasting about, that they are getting a first-person shooter. They're getting Colonial Marines and stuff. Well, it'll probably run better and more beautifully on the PS3 and Xbox, won't it? You know, the more hardcore, dedicated first-person shootery machines. Unless the argument is that, oh, but if you've only got a Nintendo console, if you've only got a Wii U and you don't have any other machines, then that's fine, right? Alright, we'll go with that. We've got things like Mario and Donkey Kong, which are single company only, and they haven't gone out of their box yet. Alright, so if you said, oh, okay, I'll be playing Colonial Marines on that because it's the only console I've got, how then do you explain the fact that a lot of Nintendo's killer titles in production for the Wii U are sequels? How can you explain that, like, Assassin's Creed 3 is one of the Wii U titles? Mass Effect 3, one of the Wii U titles. It's even worse with Mass Effect in some respect. Well, I don't know. They're both pretty bad, aren't they? If the Wii U is your first console, you haven't experienced anything behind that, so why are you going to want to start at the end? Why are you going to want to start with Mass Effect 3? Why are you going to want to start on Assassin's Creed 3? I mean, it's only one generation apart. You're going to go back and want to play... I mean, the Xbox 360 will still be out once the Wii U releases, for Christ's sake. Right? Go back and play the original Assassin's Creed and check it out. Why are they bringing out sequels to games where the premise really is for you to enjoy it properly? You should go out and buy competitor consoles. They're encouraging you to go buy other people's machines. They're saying, yeah, well, you know, here's the other one. But of course, you would have bought another console as well because, you know, Nintendo on its own won't satisfy and complete your life. So, you know, we'll just give you this. Oh, and you're like, whoa, you're what now? You wouldn't hear that from Microsoft, would you? You wouldn't hear that coming from them. They wouldn't just, like, bring out something like that. In so many titles like that is. I mean, yeah, they did it with, like, Shenmue 2, but don't even get me started on Shenmue. That whole thing's a debacle. When great games die, which, again, you know, shows you the Japanese market, doesn't it? Pretty much the best role-playing game ever made and conceived, Shenmue. Why don't we have countless clones of that? I give up on you, Japan. Seriously, Nintendo? It doesn't look good, mate. I think you are going the way of Sega. And I've got a feeling that the Wii U could be your Dreamcast. This is your albatross, I reckon. And I think Nintendo are going to have to accept or forcibly be pushed into becoming a multi-platformer games developer with very little in the way of hardware innovation. Possibly the final console they ever make. That's my prediction. I think they're going the way of Sega. Now let's see if that works out right. But imagine that. Mario on your PlayStation, anybody? Well, that was it. I got a few things off my chest about Nintendo, but this impassioned speech, it doesn't come from hate. It comes from love. I'm a hardcore, old-school gamer, just like a lot of you guys, and, you know, it's for my love for the genre, for the medium, for gaming as a whole. I speak out of concern as an old Nintendo gamer, playing back from the days of the NES, to really look at what Nintendo's doing and to share these feelings. How do you guys feel about it? Do you feel the same? Tell me below in the comments. Do you agree, disagree? How do you feel about Nintendo? What does the future hold? Thank you very much for tuning in, and I will see you at the next video.